Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. And if you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today we are doing Chapter 55 of The Captain's Heart. Gralgiran groggily came awake to the shifting of the mattress. Jer, he mumbled, not reaching in time to pull him back against him. Sorry, his heart whispered. Didn't mean to wake you. Just had an idea for a design, and I want to put it down before I forget it entirely. Oh, okay. He had the thought about how odd it was for someone to just get out of bed in the middle of sleep without an emergency to drive him. There might have been more to it, but sleep called him back by then. What was I thinking? Jeremy mumbled, looking at the tablet as they ate. Huh? He looked at him, slurping the roll of meat coated in a harshnir in his muzzle. I woke and wrote down notes for a design, but this thing's not made for that. I had to translate the images I had into Word, and on top of that, I don't have the technical words yet for what I needed to describe. This is something of an incomprehensible mess. What would you have needed? A drafting table. He put the tablet down to eat. Something that lets me work entirely visually would be ideal, but in a few days I should have the Kelsirian words to get something started, then manipulate that into what I'm going for. He glanced at the tablet. Absently dipping his cube of meat, Gralgiran hadn't paid attention to Jeremy's selection, into the harshnir. Maybe once I have that, I can untangle this into something that's going to trigger my memories. He popped it into his mouth. Do you think the psycholo... He hurried for his glass. Wow, that's hot. Isn't it early to burn your tongue out like that? I thought you enjoyed some heat. I had to plunge my hand in an active antimatter reactor core once. It didn't burn this bad. Gralgiran stared. Why? Jeremy shrugged. A team of scientists didn't clean up after their experiment with my reactor, and the next ones reacted with that to cause a spiraling interaction. It was that to shut down the whole. It was that to shut down the whole thing, or lose half the station. Lose half the station. Don't you have emergency personnel for that? He grinned. I'm pretty much it when it comes to my reactors. The S was almost not there. He sighed. I guess it doesn't matter anymore, does it? The commander's secrecy. Which reminds me, you never said why you were at the station. Turk said it was for a hunt, which I now have the knowledge to know it's the word for a military operation, but he didn't know what it was. There have been suspicions for a while now that Earthers have more antimatter than they declare. With Jeremy being his heart and on the bane, he could tell him. Anyone accusing him of revealing hunt-exclusive information could go read the Federation regulation and how it applied to Kelsirian hearts. Aren't we allowed to have however much we can make? I mean, Earth is in the process of joining the Federation, not already under its rule. They are, but why lie about it unless they're doing something illegal? And to be clear, in this case, it wouldn't be Earthers committing the crime, but whichever Federation species was selling them more antimatter than the regulations permit. Einstein Station was picked both because it's the closest to Federation borders and because it's known for the antimatter research it engages in. And you didn't question me about it? Why? Do you know who sold it to Earthers? Jimmy shook his head. But you had me here in your quarters even. You had to wonder if I had that information. You're a civilian. So? Civilians don't get dragged into a hunt unless they are the target. Are you really telling me that if you'd suspected I knew the information you were after, that you wouldn't have tried to get me to give it to you? If I'd suspected you held vital information, your status as my heart would have. Forget that it's me then. Let's say you thought Amanda could have told you that she'd be the one picked to fix the reactor. You wouldn't have quizzed her as hard as possible to get her to tell you? Gralgiran didn't point out that Jeremy had said she'd left the station already, that if that hadn't happened, it would have meant that Jezbilium hadn't meddled, so the reactor wouldn't have failed, Alexiana Karan wouldn't have been hurt, and no help would have been required. He addressed a theoretical scenario as it was. If I'd come to suspect she, a civilian, had information vital to the hunt, I'd have had to contact the Federation Security Bureau for them to either have me stand down or alter the perimeter of the hunt to make her the target. It wouldn't be the same if another species had been assigned to this hunt. The Tahornian, for example, don't care much about the niceties of keeping civilians uninvolved. The FSB is good about respecting each species protocol when it comes to those things. Then why send you? Sounds like using the Tahornian would have made everything a lot easier for them. If they could have been trusted with something like that, and if everyone didn't suspect them to be the one who sold the antimatter to Earthers, but they'd also have to explain why they were sending a Tahornian ship through Kelsirian space, especially since their territory already touches the Earthers. But they'd have to justify whatever species they wanted to send through our territory, and the FSB would rather use whoever is closest than more convenient. I think they have Reosefs handling that part. It feels like their type of practicality. Okay, but what if your superiors order you to fire on a city? Turk said that hunters do what they're told. That would result in Turek Selminial is a frontline hunter. He does what his beta orders because he trusts that him and me, the alpha, have questioned those orders until there is no doubt that those actions are the only ones that will resolve the hunt. But before you add more complications, we aren't soldiers. We are hunters. Kelser has its military and they operate under different rules. They don't answer to the god? He ignored the slight mirth in Jeremy's words. They don't. He didn't understand the place the gods held for him as one of their hunters, and for his people in general. Gralgiran expected that coming from a species without gods, he might never fully understand. Einstein Station has, as the last time I looked over the numbers, 2 tons of antimatter. I can't tell you where it comes from. I know we have 3 factories producing it, but I don't know what their production rates are. And as far as I know, Copernicus and Curie would carry a similar amount since they do the same kind of research we do. So they're the same kind of research. Yeah. Gagarin stared. Antimatter basically had no weight in quantities needed to run reactors. Alexiana Nakaran had told him that when he'd asked his friend for clues as to what his hunters should look for as they moved about the station. It came down to containment systems, so he told them the type of containers to expect. The scan had showed a lot of antimatter-related particle, as well as the canisters that would contain it. They were smaller than what Alexiana Karan had showed him, but for the mass Jeremy had told them, each would have to contain much more than he'd expected based on what his friend had told him. You look like you weren't expecting that. Gralgiran chuckled. The scan didn't hit at that volume. You didn't have to tell me. Jeremy shrugged. If someone's breaking the law so we have all that antimatter, I want them caught. Gralgiran smiled. Maybe Jeremy didn't believe in the gods or bore one of their names, but it seemed that they both thought well of the same one. You took your time, Alexiana Karan said, glaring. Gralgiran smiled. I'm glad you're doing better. Then you'll be glad I'm well enough for you to tell me the state of my reactor. Those cursed gods meddled. That's the only way something could have gone wrong with it. If they haven't fixed it, I'm going to make my way to the forest, and they will have to answer for the sacrilege. He hesitated. Well, they are. Out with it, Gral. Dealing with these medics, he looked at the closest one, who won't tell me anything, isn't granting me the patience I'm so well known for. Gralgiran snorted. His friend's patience was well known for being quite short. They've sort of arranged for it to be fixed. Arranged to be fixed? The sandy-furred male's eyes narrowed. That's sounding a lot like there's some incompetent would-be engineer touching my reactor. My art is neither incompetent nor a would-be engineer. Jeremy is quite qualified. Congratulations, Alexander Karan threw the covers off him. Now take me to the engineering so I can see the mess your heart has made of my reactor. He swung his leg off the bed and pushed himself away before the medics could react. Gralgiran caught him before he fell to the floor. What have you done to my legs? Alexander Karan yelled at the medic, who helped Gralgiran place him back on the bed. They were working fine before I ended up here. That would be before you were bathed in radiations and had most of your brain scrambled, the doctor said, reaching them. Like those godforsaken two were supposed to fix me while I slept. Fix your body, she snapped. Your mind is immensely more complex, so you're going to keep that ass of yours in bed until we've reconnected all your motor functions. You are not going to, or I'm going to cut the connection to your mouth so we can get some quiet in here. Alexia Nakaran looked at Gralgiran. She can't do that. This is her medical bay. Unless she puts your life in danger, I can't interfere with what she does. The sandy-furred male glared at the ceiling. We are going to have words. Do you hear me? He crossed his arm and glared at the doctor. Fine, I'll be quiet. He turned his glare on Gralgiran. I don't care if he's Denny Rag's envoy to my bed. You tell that heart of yours to keep his claws off my reactor. I'll repair it once these people finally get done fixing me. I'm afraid I need it repaired before you will be out of bed, Alex. Then tell them to hurry the fuck up. Captain, the doctor says, I think it's best if you leave. Your presence is clearly agitating my patients. He's not the one pissing me off. Where are you going? I've been ordered out. Gralgiran replied, I swear, Gral, the next time you show up in my office for some distraction, I am kicking you out. Good thing I have my heart to seek solace with, then, he whispered as the door closed behind him, or if Jeremy overcame what had been done to him, they could make use of the office while it was technically his. And that concludes chapter 55 of The Captain's Heart. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this story, it is available on Ream Story. And if you want to listen to this live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.